Hi everyone, this is Natalie Koval. Clean screen. Lovely. So, hi everyone, this is Natalie Koval. I'm an international matchmaker, and today I want to touch upon the subject of learning more about Ukrainian culture and recommending the guidebooks that I've personally read and think that stand out in terms of learning about Ukrainian culture, understanding Ukrainian women, and being more prepared to date a Ukrainian woman and knowing how it really works. So, I've prepared a whole list of books. I have read all these books myself, and I recommend these books because I find a lot of useful information for the guy who wants to find a wife in Ukraine, who is seriously looking to connect his life with Ukraine. Actually, I think that will fit to anybody who is thinking about marrying within the cultures. And this video can be useful to every guy who is considering marrying a foreigner. Because before you marry a foreigner, you understand why you want to marry that specific foreigner. From Ukraine, from Russia, from Belarus, from Vietnam, from Sri Lanka, or wherever, from China. And when women are going to another country, they fall in love with a guy, they take all sorts of guidebooks they can find. At least that's what I recommend them, and I see them doing. They watch all TV programs they can find about that particular that particular country, that particular culture, and they gather lots of information. And I recommend for you to do that as well. Please make sure you are subscribed to my channel because I'm sharing information about marrying a Ukrainian woman. I'm giving tips about making it successful with a Ukrainian woman. I am giving lots of guidance in terms of succeeding your relationship with a foreigner, and staying in touch with me and watching these videos will help you get your new insights, how you can make it right, how you can make it successful and good for you. So let's talk about the guidebooks and which ones I recommend. Number one, and the best resource, is kind of a challenge because the name of this book is a challenging name itself. The author of this book is a sex tourist. He's an active young man who's been everywhere, who tried relationship with any women in any country, whose goal was to have sex on the first date, and he wrote a book about Ukraine. So the name of this book is Bang Ukraine. The author himself is Rush V. I've met Rush personally on a TV show in Ukraine, and the show was against sex tourism. And myself, as a representative of matchmaking industry, was protecting Ukrainian women and showing and telling them that it is not about sex tourism. And Rush was also saying that his book is not about sex tourism, and actually how to, the only way you can have sex with a Ukrainian woman is through relationship. And he is talking in his book about building relationship with a Ukrainian woman, and then you can have sex with her. So I really love this book for several reasons. Number one, that book suits to a guy who likes to do everything on his own. If he doesn't need any matchmaker, if he knows himself better, if he wants to have a step-by-step strategy, what to do, where to go, where to stay, how to plan your trip, how to organize yourself, how to make your own individual strategy in approaching Ukrainian women, how to approach Ukrainian women, what do they like to hear, how they communicate, how to open up a good conversation, how to build trust and relationship. Then read this book and you will have a very clear picture how you can do it by yourself without any agency, just showing up in Ukraine and having your game, as guys likes to say. Yes, of course, Rushvi says that agencies are bad, that don't go to agencies, they are not helpful at all. And I understand why he says so, because I'm going to talk about this later today on this video, uh, because some agencies are everything besides finding you a mate. And some agencies are really truly holy grail to somebody who is looking for a wife. So well, we will dedicate time to that answer, to the subject of the agencies, because there is another book who talks down agencies completely and totally, and there is a reason to that, and I will explain why. So Rushvi and his Bang Ukraine book can be found online. I have put the links to all the books that I recommend here in this video in the description to the video. You can find it. And I couldn't find Rushvi book on Amazon. It used to be there, but now it is, you can download it from some other resources, from paid resources. He himself says that this book is over. He is not, I don't know what happened. Actually, the book is great. Really, it's written with a very male, masculine, strong language. I recommended this book for some ladies to read as well, so they can learn how a man is thinking, what man likes, to explain to women that man really likes them to dress up well, to be hot, to be talkative, to be open, but not to have sex on the first night, of course, if you're planning long-term relationship. But we always want to know what's inside a man's mind, and men want to know what is inside women's mind, and that book opens that up. So find that book, read it, and you can succeed on your own if you're strong, if you know what you want, if you are a powerful man who likes to solve any problem by himself. You will have 100% great guidance with Bang Ukraine book. Number 2 resource is my favorite culture shock book. I put the link to this book in the description of the video, and the book is the pluses of this book. This book is talking about Ukrainian history. Lots of very interesting and very local details about Ukrainian history. Things that you can only learn either living here or reading the book. Things that are very private in Ukrainian culture, how people think, how people behave, why people are communicating in the way they communicate. All this is written here. And the author of the book is Meredith Dalton, and the book was last published, my edition is 2004, and it's an excellent excellent material for somebody who wants to really go deep inside Ukrainian culture and know the reasons and know the origins. And the author herself is used to live in Ukraine, and he was writing this book basing on her experience and talking to real people, real citizens of Ukraine, and not just foreigners' attitudes. And I recommend to read that book to really impress a girl with things you know about Ukraine, because it's really there. Well, but since 2004, a lot of things have changed. And I really wish that Meredith Dalton comes to Ukraine now, in 2020, 16 years later. And I want to touch upon things that have changed in Ukraine since the book was written. And well, I'm an optimist. And I love Ukraine, and I would like to touch upon these subjects and really welcome Meredith Dalton to Ukraine to write a new edition, because she will love it here. Now, the changes that have happened is Ukraine has survived 2 more revolutions. And the Orange Revolution, the Dignity Revolution, now we have the military conflict with Russia, and the whole nation has grown up. We've separated from that nomenclatura that she is writing in the book into the society humanistic society, new modern society of free individuals, conscious society of free individuals. At least we've made big steps towards democracy. I would say, of course, we have much to achieve, but 2004 was a totally different story. And the persona of a new Ukrainian has started to exist since 2004, especially after the revolution in 2014. People became more patriotic. Ukrainians started loving Ukraine more and appreciating their land, protecting their land, really cherishing their culture, cherishing the land, and being more conscious citizens. Just the whole fact that I'm related to charity. So I have this actual information that before 2014, there were the social activity of Ukrainians in charity organizations was about up to 5%. After the revolution of 2014, 20% of citizens started to be proactive and actively involved in charity, in organizing charity and being volunteers and making a difference in the society. 20%. So it's like a huge race, and that, as an example, speaks up about maturity of the Ukrainian society as it is. Another change that has happened since 2004 was that the middle class of Ukrainians started to appear and strengthen themselves. It's difficult to compare the figures of the middle class in the West and in Ukraine, but in terms of things that people do, in terms of goals and values people have, it's 100% comparable. Because in Ukraine, women cherish education, cherish good traditional family values. They are into being open-minded. They are, let's say, 60% of the citizens have university degree, and this is one of the highest numbers in the world. People love to travel. When people have some money, they invest in a better future for themselves and their children, and this is all middle class. And people can also afford middle class things. Okay. I'm checking for the notes, so I don't see any questions, but please go ahead and ask your questions and make sure you subscribe to my channel. This is Marriage by Natalie, Natalia Koval, personally with you. So talking about the middle class of Ukrainians, middle class of Ukrainian people became stronger, became more stable, and more people could say that they refer themselves to the middle class. Right now, we are surviving a huge global crisis. So, of course, the middle class people are going to be weaker, but still, the values, goals, and expectations of people who see themselves belonging to this group of people is much bigger and much stronger. Now, more Ukrainians are taking highly paid jobs, especially in big cities. And there used to be a tendency of, for example, an international company, let's say Procter & Gamble, let's say, I don't know, Mars Sneakers, or let's say, I don't know, McDonald's. They were bringing international management until 2008, I would say, until 2010. But then Ukrainian people got PhDs, got MBA, and now international companies are hiring Ukrainians, and the flow of international employees has grown down due to the economical and educational rise of Ukrainian people, and they are strengthening themselves. And it's also cheaper to hire Ukrainian than bring in international management. So It's a good race. Ukraine has also joined the Sustainable Growth Plan of the World Society. We have signed the treaty, and sustainability goals are highly emphasized in Ukraine. Of course, there are committees, and the international companies are following that. As president of Kyiv Lions Club, that I used to be until the last year. Until the last year, I have been following this tendency, and I've learned a lot about Ukraine following the sustainability plans, and I was impressed with checking the sources like Coca-Cola company, how they make their input, like Deloitte and Touche, like Ernst & Young, what they do about the sustainable growth of the business and how they implement it in practice here in Ukraine. So there is a big race in that. Also, what I have learned, that ISO standards are used in Ukraine and are followed in Ukraine. Even my friend who works in the food industry and they produce confectionery, they are qualified for ISO standard, and they sell their product all over the world, and they are trading with different countries like USA, like Canada, and those standards are important. And I can't imagine this happening in 2004, but now it's happening. Now, business standards, professional business etiquette, business ethics have improved immensely in Ukraine since 2004. Also, well, I'll just go quicker. Real estate started to blossom and bloom. The real estate market in 2004 until 2008, I would say, existed in already existing buildings, but since, let's say, 2005, the boom, the building industry is going like higher and higher and higher. I am in this office since 2004, and since then there were 2 high rises built here. In 2013, they have completed Gulliver Shopping Mall, and just before that, they've completed Paros Business Center. These are 2 skyscrapers to the world standards. One is like more than 30 floors tall. Actually, both are the same height, and they are world-class shopping facilities. And people are impressed coming here and being in that kind of a place. So that's a huge step up in Ukrainian society. Now, USA citizens no longer need a visa to go to Ukraine. At least it was like this before the quarantine measures. And that happened after the Orange Revolution. And since long ago now, but more countries do not need visas to go to Ukraine, because Indian citizens needed visa, Australians, New Zealanders. Australians now are working on canceling the visas, and New Zealanders now don't need a visa, but they used to. If you come here, you can bring your documents, you can bring the reasons why you're coming to Ukraine, and then you pass the border control. That's all good. And Ukraine, since 2017, Ukrainian citizens started traveling to European countries, to the countries of the European Union without visa. And that's a huge achievement of the new revolution that has happened last time. The reasons actually for that revolution to start was the ex-president Yanukovych not working on visa-free plan for Ukrainians, but now it is possible. In 2017, we have a biometric passport, and we can travel to Europe and stay there for 90 days without any visa. So it's an achievement. And in general, there is a good progress in Ukraine. And but reading about the basics, understanding the real origins of Ukrainian culture, now when you come to Ukraine, you can see what has improved, and you can be stronger now listening to this video and watching what is happening yourself when you are traveling. Because, well, I hate to say, but and that's my sadness that Ukraine is considered a third world country. Economically, well, yes, but intellectually, with the achievements of Ukrainian academia and with achievements of Ukrainian businesses, I can't say that anymore, because Ukrainian programmers are in top 5 in the world. Ukrainian airplanes are the best cargo airplanes in the world. Ukraine is the best and in the top 3 honey exporters in the world. Ukraine is the breadbasket of the whole Europe. We are exporting wheat, and we are in the top exporters of the wheat. That makes us sort of banana republic, but we feed the world. So it's wrong to say that Ukraine is a third world country, because the people who live there and the people who are in the avant-garde of the citizens don't think so at all. And coming to Ukraine, talking to Ukrainian women, you can learn it yourself by asking the right questions, by watching films, by watching news about Ukraine. You can understand it better, why I'm saying so. So let's go to the next book. The next book is Lonely Planet, Ukraine. Why this book is great? Because you can have it and you can open it on any page and read about any place in Ukraine and have great information, well collected, well put together. TripAdvisor also works, the application for the TripAdvisor, but A Lonely Planet, Ukraine. What I hate about this book, well, there is a specific article saying women in Ukraine. And if somebody reads the women in Ukraine paragraph, the guy will never come to Ukraine and looking for a wife, because things like and especially will never use dating or marriage agency, because they say the myriad of dating agency introducing sometimes not so attractive overseas men to beautiful Ukrainian women are the reasons you'll notice an awful lot of oddly matched couples in Ukraine. I hate this, because yes, on some extent it is so, because that was happening before 2009 when the book was published. So this book is newer. It's a newer edition. I couldn't find a newer edition, but that's for sure 2009 version of the book. But a lot has changed since then. Just the whole fact that we have created the Ukrainian Matchmakers Alliance group and united legit, serious, good marriage agencies and matchmakers that are working with the high business ethics, who put creating of a family as their goal and support existing couples is our step against the huge industry of paper letter websites and, as they call themselves, emotional entertainment business. We are myself, together with my colleague from Poltava, with Alex Pinto, we have created the Ukrainian Matchmakers Alliance, and we are helping good, family-oriented men have a resource to look and choose from good, family-oriented agencies. And we screen every agency that comes to us and wants to be part of the Ukrainian Matchmakers Alliance. And then we support these agencies with more information, with more business support on how to match properly and how to create families. We all exchange information. We are all equals. Every agency that is part of the alliance is equally educated and professional. And another tip of choosing the right matchmaker for yourself is talking to different matchmakers and finding the one you trust, because matchmaker and the whole marriage agency is not only about finding a beautiful woman. There are plenty of beautiful women everywhere. You go on the street yourself, you can meet people. But having a trusted confidant, knowing that this person will support you and will support your best benefit, will support your search of the right partner, and will protect you from scammers, will protect you from wrong choices, will protect you from losing your energy and emotions to the wrong person, to an unsuitable person. That is the value of the matchmaker. And having this guidance and support is possible and available now, and we are making this happen. So, the authors of Lonely Planet, welcome back to Ukraine. It's now since long ago you've been here. So make the third edition of the book. Published in June 2008. First published in July 2005. Well, it's about time to come and make an edition 2021, probably, or maybe they are already making it. I hope so. So talking about Ukrainian culture, you can also read more about Ukrainian places, Ukrainian history, some glimpses of Ukrainian society, but all this is condensed in the book. Most of the information is dedicated to different cities, to different places, a little bit of a history of that place, the main attractions of that place, and what to do there and where to go, where to stay. So I think this edition is essential for somebody who likes books, who likes holding something in your hands. But now mobile apps are replacing lots of books, and maybe that's why they are not publishing a new book. But I'm old school. I love books. It's a real experience. When I was studying education, I've learned that digital education is when you are reading something online on your telephone, on your computer, and that's not a practical experience. If you're holding a book, if you are going through the pages, if you are marking something, that becomes experience, that becomes physical experience of achieving knowledge, and thus more practical. So when you're reading a book, you are more practical if you want. Now, the fourth book I want to talk about is Doing Business in Ukraine by a very well-known lawyer, Alex Frischberg, and his partners. Alex has his law practices in Ukraine, and he helps businesses to start creating businesses here. He's one of the lawyers I can refer you to, but he wrote this book. It's quite heavy. It's an old edition, but there is a new one. And every client of Marriage by Natalie agency who is interested in doing businesses in Ukraine will receive this book as a gift from the agency. So please ask me for it. The things have changed immensely since the book was written, but you can learn more about main principles, about mentality, about ways people act and ways people do business and go through different challenges, which is still useful because no matter what business you do, you need to understand the roots, you need to understand how it actually works. So I recommend that book. I also put the link to that book in the description of the video. Looking for a wife in Ukraine, trying to make the most of your time, learning more about the culture definitely helps you succeed in your goal. And men are intellectual, usually. Women are more emotional as a stereotype. Stereotypically, men are intellectual. You guys like to think, you like to analyze, you like to put pieces of puzzles together. And I'm giving you this information to give you more pieces of puzzle and to support more of your learning interest and appetite. And when you are coming to Ukraine, first of all, you're going to be talking to intellectual women, because those are the women that are coming to different matchmakers and reliable agencies. They want to see your intellect. Remember, emotional connection, intellectual connection, and social compatibility are making the right couple. And connecting intellectually, that's the best excitement for the woman when she can talk to a man as an equal. This is really important. So that's why I'm making this video and recommend you to learn more and to grow. And the last book is quite a notorious book too. It is, I know the author myself, wonderful Donald Stevens. He wrote this book many years ago in 2004. In August, Donald Stevens wrote it in August 2004. And so a lot has changed since then. These are pictures of real women that used to belong to my agency. They are all married now. Happily married. And this book has good luck, but it has a lot of controversial information, a lot of old school information, a lot of stigmas, but it's good because it's talking positively about the whole phenomena of marrying a Ukrainian woman, moving it forward and making it successful from a very, let's say, from the point of view of a guy who was very thrifty with the resources he has. He was taking women to McDonald's for a date and just was experimenting with that. Of course, you're not going to do that, but reading it and understanding the do's and don'ts is very useful to a thinking person. That's why I'm giving this book as part of my matchmaking service plan. So please request it when you're coming to Ukraine. When you are here, ask me to give you this book as a gift. I can sign it for you as the agency owner. I have the right to distribute the book. I will give you a task about this book, because there is lots of information that will make you think, analyze, and move forward in your relationship. So this is like a manual for homework. And to summarize the whole subject of learning about Ukrainian culture and reading books and improving your knowledge and making it more successful with your girlfriend, I would like to say that be brave and move forward in your thinking, in your planning, and in your relationship with a Ukrainian woman. Definitely when you see that your relationship is blossoming and growing and becomes stronger, exchange important information about your places where you both live. Now it's easy. There are videos about your homeland. There are videos related to some famous people in your homeland. There are different numerous films about important historical moments that are really dear to you and meaningful to you specifically in your life and in the country where you live. Share that information with the women. Share your favorite cartoons with a woman that you like. Share important films, books, intellectual resources. And this way you will be building the common ground of connection and understanding. Why some women never come to an international matchmaker is because they are afraid, because the culture is different, the stigmas are different, the expectations are different, and they don't know how to deal with foreign guys and how to treat them and how to make them happy. So they'd rather stay home and not to do anything. Although now I'm thinking that the millennials or the Generation Z will not have that problem. Look at the film industry that is blossoming. Hollywood has captured the world, and they are putting all common knowledge on the screens. And now like guys who were born in the late 90s will have no problem connecting to girls that were born in the late 90s in another country, because they watch the same cartoons, they like the same cartoons, they play in the same video games, they are using the same apps, and more now the digital world is connecting us more. And the guys that are old school, as I say, our previous generations, need to build more trust and build more connection with exchanging the intellectual information. So exchange the intellectual information with the woman you like and ask her to do the same. You will be surprised to see some of the films made in the USSR and in Ukraine. Every year, Ukrainian films are nominated to win Oscar, and I'm personally familiar with the producers that make those films, and the films really stand out. Search for those films, and you will see and learn more about modern Ukraine this way. Ask me for the names and I'll send it to you. Please write in your comments to this video what would you like to know more about Ukraine and Ukrainian culture, and maybe I will make a new stream, or I'll prepare a new video about that. So help me give you more information if I know what you are interested in. And the last thing I want to say is, this video is generally about intellect and generally about intellectual bonding. The stronger you bond intellectually, the higher chances you have to really make it work with a Ukrainian woman. As I said, intellectual, attractive, smart, goal-oriented, thinkers out of the box, if I can say so, are coming to international matchmaking agencies looking for a man who lives in another country, or being open to a relationship with a foreigner. So using the intellectual bonding factor will really help you strengthen the idea and the goal of creating a relationship with a person from another country. So this is Natalie Koval. Make sure you hit the bell button to get announcements about my new videos. Please stay subscribed to my videos and stay subscribed with Marriage by Natalie channel. And you will learn more about Ukrainian culture, Ukrainian women, and successful stories, successful good love stories about relationship with a lady from Ukraine. And also go to my website, marriagebynatalie.com. You will see more information there about everything that is related to Ukrainian culture, everything that might be interested in relations to marrying a foreigner. And please, if you may have any questions, the contacts are in the description of the video. So please write to me personally, write to me on WhatsApp. You have my number there. Write to me personally on our business email, and I will make sure I will attend your request and will give you the answers you want, because I want you to have an absolutely successful and great love story. And you can do it yourself, or you can do it with coming to a reliable matchmaker you trust. Now these tools are available, and everything is absolutely possible. We can support you with it, and you can do it yourself. The choice is yours, and I wish you to have an unbelievable, happy, kind, and great love story, because it is possible. And if you need my help, just let me know and I will help you. Thank you for watching.